So we are talking about nuclear power. Today, nuclear power will be great responsibilities of electricity. You see in this one, in 1973, nuclear power generated only 3.3, the yellow one is nuclear power. But in 2008, these are generating 30.5% of all world's energy. And in France doesn't have any natural resources, so they use 80% of power is supported by nuclear power. The blue one. The important materials of nuclear powered uranium was discovered by Martin Klaproth, a German chemist in 1789. Yes. And from this invention, X-ray and alpha ray was discovered. And finally, Pelly and Marie Curie discovered radium in 1876 there. And this is a big inspiration for nuclear power. 70 years later, nuclear fission was discovered, but times go to wartime, so they tried to use nuclear power for weapons. Then in 1945, by Manhattan Project, first atomic bomb was made, and 2 atomic bombs dropped over Japan. But post-war, after war over, nuclear power is used for electricity. Then EBR-1 in the USA, which started up in 1951. That one is first nuclear reactor. And 1954, the world's first nuclear-powered electricity generator began operation at the FEI in Russia. And most popular electricity is oil thermal power nowadays. And this is some points with compare with this one and nuclear power. And thermal power is possible to stability and large scale of producing power. So wind and solar power cannot produce great deal of energy, so they cannot instead of thermal power, but nuclear power is possible. So nuclear power plant can be a stable supply a large amount of energy. And so rapidly developing economic countries such as China and India to try to construct nuclear power plants. And this graph shows how these countries great success of electricity generation of nuclear power. Then in addition, electricity charges of nuclear power is very cheap. And to use any powers, you need to pay for that. But then if compared with other electricity charge and the nuclear power, charge of the nuclear power is cheapest in other charge of electricity, as this graph shows. The purple one is oil charges, and the green one is nuclear power charges. And most significant point of nuclear power is ecological electricity. While produce oil power, the CO2 are also produced, but they are not good for environment, and their attribution of global warming. But nuclear power does not emission them. And this graph shows the coal released carbon dioxide over 4,000. In contrast, nuclear is less than 50. So nuclear is good for global. And if we connect nuclear power with environment, there are some important benefits of nuclear power. For instance, Japan doesn't have any natural resources, so Japan depends oil energy on some Arab countries, and most of Arab countries have much oil, and they offer them to other countries that do not have any natural energy, such as Japan. However, these Arab countries political instability, so some civil war going on and happen. So then the price of oil is going to rise or down. So most of uranium is produced in Australia and Canada, and these countries are political stability. So price of uranium doesn't have any change. And additionally, it is public enterprise and it is influenced by money. For example, the nuclear plants built underpopulated area and in underpopulated area, there are not any jobs for young people, so young people go out from there. But the nuclear plant is built, people can work such as construction industry or industries associated with nuclear power plant. So nuclear power has some better things than other electricity. There are two ways to produce energy from nuclear. First, nuclear fission release energy by splitting nucleus here and of the atom or nuclear, and this affects great dangers on Earth because radioactive can be cause of cancer and or mutation and other illness, and radioactive accidental release from power plants or by nuclear fission. And then there are one more way to make energy from nuclear, and that way is nuclear fusion, two nuclei to form one heavier nucleus. Nuclear fusion produces energy efficient and clean energy because fusion is processed in the early stage of development. However, this is still experimental, so people expect this new technology of nuclear power.
So there's some advantage, but there's also disadvantages, and some problem is so serious. And I'm gonna tell you like 3 advantages, which is radioactivity and safety system and accident. So radioactivity, it is like waste. When we create the nuclear power, there is some waste, and which is like this. And but radioactivity waste damage all human or animals in the world. So their risk is like get a disease or death. And there are 2 kind of waste in the radioactivity, and one is the low level and which is like waste made by the clothes that was wearing by someone who is working in the nuclear plant. And this is deposed by burn up, and there is like no one place to like dig, so we have to find the new places. And the high level one is the spent fuel. This deposit of the no. No, this is deposit of the this one is the deposit to dig it, and it's dig to depth of about few 100 meters underground, and this way is the basic policy. Safety system. There are some safety systems in the plant, and it is for prepare for the natural disaster. And self-control system is the one of the safety system. Then it is when some pressure to the tank, and out of output gas, this system is going to work and it hold back the output. And around the radioactivity, many layers are enclosing the material of radioactivity. And there are many systems of the safety, but the most important thing is feeling or protect the safe. This idea is important for who are taking care of the nuclear. when the natural disaster happened in the place where is the nuclear plant. For example, in last year in Japan, there was a huge earthquake, and near the place, here is the earthquake. There was earthquake, and like almost near the sea, there was a nuclear plant. And when the earthquake happened, the plant lost the power source, and the safety system was stopped at that time. And after 15 minutes, the 15 meter of tsunami attacked the plant. And all systems were broken.
Keep on. Maybe
That
you guys can try to
trunk-
finish the next minute. That would be great.
The trunk for cool down the nuclear fuel was to stop working. The nuclear fuel was heating up and started leaking. It became the worst nuclear accident. For sure, there was system prepared for the earthquake, but the earthquake was 10 times 2.5 bigger than value of estimated before. So people were cooling down the tank by put the water, like using a fire engine. But it is very high risk to do it because around the plant the radioactivity spread, and but the people to have be close for put the water, so they have to go to like more close. And when people go to that activity, they have a risk to have a disease or death after that. And around 20 kilometers radiant, the radiance can't get in that area until now. And radioactivity that is from that plant is spreading to the whole Japan and to the whole world. So the future. Now the most major problem of nuclear plant is fuel storage. The coil of nuclear reactor are getting hotter during the creating energy. And to cool that we use water. But instead of water, scientists just suggest the new things, which is helium gas, and in hurt, so it cannot become radioactivity, and gas reactors are more efficient and safety that water could. This is a still study phase, but it is developing technology. So conclusion. Nuclear power can be most useful and safe electricity. It may be saved by prices of charges, low risk, and effective and mass production. Even some techniques of safety are still in the experiment stage, but it is for sure nuclear power will get sure method of safety. The nuclear power will make new electricity of dreamy invention that is good for us. And these are sources.
We'll continue on Monday. Again, if you want to make final revisions on your essays, you can do that too. I'll start grading them this weekend. You guys should be ready to go. Yeah.
You take that?